Majority Leader for the state of Michigan, Mike Shirkey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Bart. I enjoyed your first robotics videos, but I was looking intently for any evidence of my grandson. I had a grandson participating. They came in second place, close second place. So they're going to go to Saginaw for the states.
Nice. What team is he on?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that. Second place team. I don't remember who the
What
sponsor
school?
was. I don't remember. It would be the homeschoolers, and so
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I
And,
think JPEC, Columbia, I think there's a group of them that are teamed up with one.
together.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, and I like their chances. They're very good, and a third of the state teams will go to the nationals. So you got to finish in the top third, and I think they got good chances of doing that. So
Well, good luck to him and
yeah,
all the
Go, Micah,
district
go.
champions. Yeah.
Mike has his name. Yep.
Yeah, they very impressive. What a great weekend. Thanks to Spring Arbor and Consumers Energy for.
Well, I give Patty Poppy a lot of credit to have injected energy, pun intended, into the first robotics program when Governor Snyder was in office. And Michigan now has, I think, about 33% of all the first robotics teams in the nation.
Wow,
In one state.
it's amazing.
So it's a good compliment to
Yeah.
Michigan.
And over the weekend, Patty Poppy tweeting her support of the robotics going on in PG&E territory in Northern California. So she's still.
Yeah,
very
they're too
involved.
busy sucking their lattes down there to do robotics. So I'm sure she's having an impact there.
They're paying $7 for a gallon of gas out there too.
Oh,
Saturday, the state Democratic Party selected their slate of candidates. No surprises, really. It's
it's a surprise, isn't it?
all the incumbents they're supporting for re-election. But the Republicans, you've got a couple weeks, I think, before you actually have your nominating event. But tonight, the process starts with county nominating events throughout the state.
County selection of delegates that will go to the state convention and the county nominations. And so that'll occur today in just about every county in the state.
It's a strange year, really. You've got 12 candidates right now who have indicated they want to be Michigan's next governor as Republicans. Last week, or I think maybe even a week or so ago, you endorsed your chosen candidate, Tudor Dixon.
Right.
And this is a person, she doesn't have a lot of name recognition. Most people in the state have never heard of her.
That's true.
Why
If
did you?
you lived on the west side of the state, you'd know her.
Muskegon area.
Yeah, but you're right. She doesn't have a big footprint across the state. Listen, there's a slate of I think 11 or 12 candidates, right? By the way, those don't get nominated at the 23rd. That's a primary race in August. So I don't want people to be confused about that.
True, but it's the party that is likely to get behind one of the candidates.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
of course. But that won't happen at the convention. That happens with the vote in August. Anyway, back to Tudor. Looking at the slate of candidates, I know almost all of them personally. It is my determination that she's the best one to go toe-to-toe with our current governor, hold her accountable for the decisions that she's made and the things she's done, without having the baggage of being accused of, called names, be female against female. And I also know her background from a manufacturing standpoint. She's got good experience there. She's got a great family. And, all she hasn't had so far is money. So I think that I'm hoping that the slate shrinks from 12 or whatever it is to 4 or 5. And then hopefully then those will go to the August primary. And then the winner will come out. As long as there's a big group, then the plurality of the primary process, you could end up with maybe a not so desirable, and don't ask me who that would be, but come out of the primary, and then our chances of winning are, slim to none.
Happened before.
Yeah, it did.
This candidate, Tudor Dixon, she's never held public office. She's a media,
You're right.
a media commentator. She has a talk show on the radio.
Well, almost all of them.
You want some
Give me-
water?
Maybe I should get some water.
Okay,
besides
we'll
it.
get you some water.
Almost all, very few of the candidates have actual office experience
Right.
right now. So that's not a detriment. It's just a statement.
Detriment to the to
Governor
name
Snyder,
recognition.
Governor Snyder never held office either.
That's true. Yeah. The former president has been
Brandon.
involved in Michigan politics by getting behind candidates. And do we know, is Tudor Dixon a Trump endorsed candidate?
She's not endorsed, but she's, we'll call it, been supported. She's gone to Mayor Largo and been called out by him on the stage as
Very special.
as a special candidate. But I don't think any of the gubernatorial candidates have been recognized by Trump.
Last time you were here, you said any of the candidates in Michigan who had the Trump endorsement you thought had the kiss of death.
No, I said we're going to go do our best to go beat them, unless they're the right candidate. I mean, that doesn't mean that every one of his endorsements are bad, but you know, in particular, those endorsements going against currently serving incumbents who do a great job. You know, we're going to be very aggressive in running races against them.
The former president has endorsed a candidate for attorney general, and but this is a person who believes that Trump won the presidential election. Is the fact that there are Trump and non-Trump candidates running in the same party going to cause when the Tea Party first came about,
Yeah.
there really was a split within the party. Are we going to see that again?
But ultimately, if you remember back to the Tea Party, we coalesced for the general election and prevailed, actually. There is some internal, you know, consternation going on between the two. That's what the convention's for, and we'll resolve those on April 23rd.
Also, this past week, the governor was dealt a couple of blows. One, she, in the kidnapping trial, two men accused of plotting to kidnap the governor acquitted. The other two, the jury said they couldn't reach a verdict.
Right.
Was that a surprise to you?
No, wasn't a surprise, but I have no clue. I mean, haven't been paying attention to the details there. The single biggest surprise to me, however, was the inferred involvement of the FBI. And we probably haven't heard the last of that story. I don't know any of the background, but just reading between the lines, I'm thinking there's some strange stuff going on there.
Well, I think there's a lot of agreement that the Justice Department and/or the FBI messed up the case, either during the plotting or in the presentation of evidence.
Yeah, the question is, were they messed it up in their process of evaluating it, or was it purposeful? That really is the question. And I don't have any insight onto that, and don't want to opine on it because it's too speculative at this point. But it sure raises one's eyebrows.
Yeah, and we don't have a decision on the whether the two that were the hung jury are going to be retried.
Right.
No, we don't
I doubt
know.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think they sound like they have a.
No, it wasn't a very resounding, we're going to come back
No.
at you kind of a thing.
Yeah. Lawsuits on Thursday filed by the governor challenging Michigan's abortion ban from 1931, I believe, and sounds like the legislature is going to step in.
Where'd you hear that at?
Well, I think you told some reporters
I
last
said
week.
we are evaluating alternatives. We haven't
Yeah.
decided yet whether we're going to step in. It's unfortunate that she chose to take that action, even before the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, have ruled. But that tells you the true colors of those in that part of the Democratic Party. But the final chapter of that book has not been written yet.
Well, it's a move by the governor in anticipation of U.S. Supreme Court action in the future,
Right.
which would strike down Roe v. Wade, and then put in place Michigan's 1931 ban on abortion in all cases except to save the life of the mother.
Mhm.
And the governor's suing to
Have the
reject-
Supreme Court determine whether or not it's constitutional.
Right.
But the problem with that is that a Michigan Supreme Court has already had that in front of them and already decided that it was constitutional. So now you're asking the Supreme Court currently serving to change the decision of a previously serving Supreme Court. There's a lot of problems in this across the board.
What can the legislature do?
I really don't know the final solution there. We could press charges. We could file our own, not charges, but file our own suit, countersuit, if you would. But right now, there are no options on the table that I'm evaluating that I think lead us to actually action, but we've not stopped evaluating.
Is it the cart before the horse?
I don't know. I think there's a little too much uncertainty associated with the outcome to make a decision like that right at this stage. But I think she's made a mistake, and I also believe that the Supreme Court has already ruled on that question, and it shouldn't be another question.
You also, at the same point when you all but confirmed the legislature would look at this, attacked Attorney General Nessel for not doing her job.
Well, I believe the number one objective and goal and assignment and responsibility of an Attorney General is to defend the Constitution. And the Supreme Court has already ruled that that was constitutional, and so how an attorney, I mean, at the very least, she could have set up a wall and had a part of the Attorney General's office do the job under her direction, you know, if she felt that personally conflicted. But when she just folded her arms and said, we're just not going to do anything, that's to me is dereliction.
Sounds like there are people within her office, though, that are prepared.
I haven't heard that.
No.
I haven't heard that.
Oh, one other Tudor Dixon endorsement for governor. How about down the slate? Any of the other candidates, Attorney General, Secretary of State?
Well, I'm supporting Tom Leonard for Attorney General.
Okay.
I think he would make a terrific Attorney General. He was appointed by Trump to be a federal prosecutor, and so obviously he passed the muster of Trump at one time. And I'm supporting Beau Lefebvre for Secretary of State.
How about here in the local races of your replacement, State Senate?
Yeah, so Tim Golding has filed to run in that seat, and I think he's the only Republican so far. And I've been gone for 10 days, and so there may have been somebody in that interim. And then we've got a couple of Democrat filings. But generally speaking, I'll support the Republican.
Are there more people? Is he a Hillsdale?
No, Tim, he lives in Grass Lake, actually.
Oh, Grass Lake. Oh, yeah.
Lives in Grass
Okay.
Lake, grew up in Washtenaw County, has a nice construction business. Reminds me of myself a little bit in terms of hasn't been involved in politics, and at about the same age that I decided to run for the first time. Hard worker, very conservative. You'll have to have him on.
Well, I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
All right, Lansing will see the return of you and the rest of the Senate and the House tomorrow. What's the priority in this last few weeks?
Number one priority is getting a budget done. You know, that'll be the one thing that kind of drives the cadence for everything else. So I'm still pushing on mental health reform. So we're going to continue to work on that.
What's your chances? What do you think your chances are of having that passed first by the legislature? And then, you know, what would the governor do?
I think, well, in both cases, I think the chances are real high.
High?
Yeah.
The
high.
governor would pass it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that through her department, they'll, look at it a little closer and start offering some ideas on how to tweak whatever objection she might have. But she's made it very clear publicly that mental health is a high priority. She did that in her budget.
The objections have been the reduction in accountability and oversight. Are there things that you are willing to relook at to firm up any confidence on accountability and oversight?
We've made, I don't know, 30 different amendments to address people's concerns. I like the progress, the trajectory we're on. I suspect this week we will engage pretty intimately with key members in the House and start to talk about, where they see things.
You couldn't get the governor to go along with the gas tax cut or the income tax cut. Are you looking at maybe Plan B for either?
Well, I'm hoping that we send her another bill that will provide relief at the pump based on her specific objections in her veto letter. So we'll send another one there. And on the income tax one, I think that'll be part of our budget negotiations.
The potential to freeze the tax is something that is there as well, but that's not been discussed.
That's not been discussed, right?
Is that on the table?
When you say
Freeze the tax, freeze the gas tax instead of cutting it, but keep it frozen.
Capping it so that
Capping
it doesn't go
yeah.
up when the price goes up.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's still on the table. Sure.
The pandemic.
What pandemic?
We're still in this
Well,
pandemic.
what pandemic? What evidence do you see of a pandemic? I traveled this last week or so between Detroit Metro and Fort Myers Airport, and there's a dramatic difference between a pandemic must be localized because there were very few people. Technically, you're supposed to be wearing a mask, through the airport and on airplanes and stuff, and there were very few people in Florida that were complying with that.
It is
Of course,
different.
I did.
Well, you have to where you travel. It is different in different states. There's a resurgence in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I have relatives with coronavirus right now. In fact, speaking of Florida,
Yeah.
I think in your endorsement of Tudor Dixon, said that she would be a governor like Ron DeSantis. Is that the kind of governor Michigan needs?
I'd love to have Governor Ron DeSantis in Michigan today. Love to have him here today.
What do you like about Ron DeSantis?
He tells it straight, tells the truth, doesn't blow smoke up anybody's skirt. He just says it like it is.
So back to the pandemic, is there any more relief coming for those that really still are trying to pick up the pieces from either their business suffering or health, the costs of the healthcare or the education?
Yeah, that's a question at the federal level, and they've had, President Biden has had difficulty getting his most recent, packages through. So I think you're going to see that kind of, dovetail off, taper off.
Of all the 12 candidates for governor on the Republican side, Mike Shirkey, who's not a declared candidate, has the most name recognition among all 13 people. Is this the wrong year you decided not to run for governor?
No, it's the perfect year. 12 years is going to be enough service.
No.
12 years is enough.
All right. Which county?
I'm going to Jackson's tonight.
Jackson's
Yeah.
tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Most-
the one that you reside
The
in.
most receptive to you?
No. Just the one you reside in.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't be I'm a delegate automatically because of elected position, but the local delegates in that process is only the one you reside in.
You're automatically a delegate at the
Yeah.
party. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, good luck. Thanks for coming in
Thank
today.
you. You bet.
Our state senator and Senate Majority Leader, Mike Shirkey. Well, they're back on the stage.